Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of ENS Central's Builder Spotlight. Joining us today is Helen, creator of ENS Redirect. Helen, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, we're really looking forward to hearing what you have to say today. You're actually the first woman in Web3 that we have joining us, so really excited for that. But just to get started, would you mind giving us a little bit of information on who you are, and this could be in Web3 or in real life?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Helen. I'm actually from Nairobi, Kenya, and I have been in Web3, I think, for 2 years now. And yeah, it's been a fun journey, learning and interacting with different communities and just getting to know what everyone is doing.
Awesome. Yeah. So how exactly did you get into Web3 in the first place? Was that, just scrolling through Twitter or did somebody mention something to you?
Uh, Actually, it's kind of fun. So I graduated from uni like 2 years ago, and how I got to know about crypto and get down the rabbit hole was actually such an interesting thing. I met this guy after I graduated from uni, and he kind of introduced me to Bitcoin and Ethereum. And back then it was in the bull market, so everyone was just trading and making money. So yeah, that's what I did. And then along the way, we met different people from Kenya who wanted to learn. And then we created a small group of people. I think they were around 10 people. And then we just started to learn how to trade and, how to buy crypto. And before we knew it, the group grew to like 200 people where
Wow.
everyone was just teaching the other. Yeah, it was such an interesting thing where it was kind of like I was introduced to crypto, and then I was taught how to download Binance, how to interact with P2P and all that. And then along the way I taught people, and then those same people introduced other people on the group, and then it became like this small community where we were just teaching people. And this was something that was important because, in Africa, there is so much scam in terms of crypto in general or blockchain, in terms of people, you get very scammy sites of someone telling you, hey, give me this much and then I'll trade for you, or, very many scams. So it was so important that, we taught people, and then we realized that these people who were teaching, they were also teaching other people. And that was such an interesting thing to me. But after that, I kind of wanted to learn more. I'm always very curious. So I had learned how to trade, and I was hearing, blockchain is this huge thing, but I was wondering, other than trading, what else can I do?
Right.
And what do people do in the space? And then I remember I went to YouTube, and then I saw a video of Vitalik talking about funding the commons. And that was so interesting to just listen to him talk about how you can use crypto or blockchain technology to fund public goods. And that was so exciting for me. And I came across this group of women. It's an organization called She256, where they essentially match you with mentors when you join. And that's how I started, you know, getting to where I am.
So would you say like Web3 and crypto is getting pretty popular in Kenya?
Yeah, I would say it's really getting popular, and actually we see many events happening in Africa or even in Kenya in general that are, crypto based. We see blockchains like Celo and projects like Polygon, already in Africa or in Kenya investing in different things. And there is already a community of people from these ecosystems. And one of the things that I actually love about that I've seen evolve over time is just seeing like people have started evolving from, just trading, which was like the basic thing that we knew. We just knew that crypto is just trading, but now people are realizing that actually there is so much more. You can get job opportunities and, be part of this, amazing communities in the blockchain space. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it's so easy, to kind of get into your own little bubble wherever you are in the world. but it's obvious too that like ENS and Web3 is kind of bringing everybody together. So it's really interesting just to hear, how it's growing in countries like Kenya and really everywhere else around the world. We had our first guest from outside of the US on last week's show. Um, his
Mhm.
name was Amar, and he's from the Netherlands. So, we're trying to keep growing this and find more about, what it's like in other countries. What's Web3 look like? Obviously, the structure's all the same, but how are people using it and how are people bettering their lives with it? So, this is all really cool to hear.
Yeah, one of the things, for me when I was joining, I was so scared. It was during COVID, everyone is trying to get used to working from home and redefining ownership and the future of work. And and that's when the rise of DAOs kind of came along, and then you'd see people involved in communities coming together and aligning their missions to achieve a certain goal. And that was like one of the things that made me gain confidence into getting involved in different communities.
I like what you said right there a whole lot with achieving a common goal. I think, you know, all the builders in this space are all kind of working on their own projects, but it seems like everybody's really coming together as a whole to really push that common goal of ENS being at the forefront of what Web3 is all about. So that's really cool. And we can kind of segment here a little bit into ENS. How did you get into ENS specifically?
Wow, yeah, that's also an interesting story. I feel like in every aspect of my Web3 journey, I've always met amazing people. So, after I have understood much about crypto and what I can do in the space, I joined the first DAO, which was Gitcoin DAO, because I'm so passionate about funding public goods and governance in Web3. So my first DAO that I joined was Gitcoin, and I met this amazing guy called Steve. He's actually Kenyan like me, and then, we kind of started talking, and he's a builder. He has built so many amazing tools on ENS actually. And I kind of asked him, so which DAOs are you contributing to and what does that look like? And he mentioned ENS to me. And then I was like, okay, tell me more about it. And then he bought me a domain, and then he sent it to me. And that was so cool, having a domain with my name. And before I was just seeing people on Twitter with .eth on their name, and I never understood, actually what that is. And then he bought me the domain and then sent it to me, and then from there, I decided to check on Twitter what actually, ENS is about and what people do. And I was so attracted to the community on ENS. It's so vibrant with, amazing people. And, that is what actually attracted me more. And then now I checked the DAO, and I've been contributing to the DAO ever since the start of the year.
That's really cool. So it sounds like your first ENS name was actually sent to you. But do you remember the first .eth that you registered yourself?
Yeah, it was actually it was actually .eth. ETH is programmable money. I think just because I think I'm a very Ethereum maximalist. So yeah, it's such a long name, but I like having it in my wallet. ETH is programmable money. Yeah.
That is definitely the longest one we've had so far for for the first one registered, but that's a pretty good idea. I mean, a lot of people just say the names are kinda what they mean to you, and also what you can build on it. So that sounds like something that you could potentially do something with in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
future as well.
definitely. Yeah.
So, is there anything about ENS that you think people, in the community or maybe people looking to get into the community might not fully understand about ENS?
Yeah, definitely. So after I bought my first domain and after being involved with the DAO, I have actually tried to register a couple of domains to friends, from Kenya, and just sending the domains to them. And one of the things that they ask me is, what can they do with it? And what does that look like? And I feel like there is still not so much out there on what you can do with your domain, which is also why, we built ENS Redirect.
So obviously, it sounds like you didn't get into ENS, too long ago around COVID time. I know that was still not too long ago, but did you expect ENS to be growing to the point where it has and getting the attention that it has today when you first started with ENS?
Actually, no. I I feel like the ENS ecosystem is one of the ecosystems in Web3 that definitely shocking everyone. Again, it has this amazing community and a very vibrant one, and everyone is just building. You know, I attend the DAO calls like all the time, and every time I see so many people building in the space and presenting so many projects and seeing that, it's definitely something that I would probably not have expected months ago.
Yeah, you keep mentioning the idea of, a vibrant community, and that's kinda what everybody says, honestly, about it. Everybody we're it's funny, but it's true. I mean, everybody's working together towards something.
Yeah,
Everybody's, like, contributing their own part, whether they're, developers in the back end or people doing marketing or trying to, get people outside of the space to become a part of it. All of that stuff plays a big role in how this is gonna grow. And I know you
yeah,
mentioned there's Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and there is also the aspect of education. I feel like not there are not so many ecosystems out there that do education a lot like ENS. Right now, if I go to my Twitter and then just search ENS, I'll find everything that I need to know, even utilities and the possibilities of things that you can do with your domain, which I find is really cool because it's not something that, you know, every other ecosystem has out there. So yeah, we have so many people doing education in the ENS ecosystem, which is amazing.
That is a really good point, and, you can also see that hires that ENS is making with people like Sadaf, to be community advocates and community outreach and helping people understand more about what it is. So I think that's a really good point, about what ENS and the community has done, on Twitter and potentially other channels as well to let people know about it.
Yeah,
All right, so now let's move on to kind of what you're doing in the space. I know that you have ENS Redirect. Would you mind to just explaining a little bit about, how and why you started that?
yeah. ENS Redirect actually we launched it 2 weeks ago, and the basic idea behind ENS Redirect was to make it easy for users to utilize their ENS domain, whether that means, redirecting your domain to your personal or a professional page, or you just want to show off your work. Maybe, you have some work that you do in Web2 or maybe Web3 and you want to show that off with your domain. Or maybe you want to support a cause, or maybe you just want to share a meme or, YouTube videos. So the idea was just to basically utilize your ENS domain by redirecting to whatever site that you want.
Yeah, that's an amazing idea. I mean, it's something that I think a lot of people could use to help the crossover between Web 2, Web 1, and Web 3. People are always looking for things to do to show off their names, but it's like not a lot of people necessarily have the knowledge and know-how on creating a website on their .eth name. And that's something that you're able to do now with this project, which is really awesome and really good for the community as a whole. Is there anybody else that you're working on this project with?
Yes, yes. Steve, I think I hardly mentioned him when we started the call. The one who gifted me my first domain. He actually, is the developer and the brains behind, all the backend stuff of the ENS Direct. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I didn't even know that. There's a lot of people in the space and there's so many builders that I don't know yet, but hopefully we're able to get more people like him and hopefully maybe even him on the show at some point.
Yeah, the ENS director, actually the idea, was inspired by the fact that I personally am not a technical person. And when I got my domain, I was wondering what can I do with it? Yes, I knew the idea of, you can build your website, but that requires some technical knowledge. So the idea was, if you are not technical, what can you do with your domain? And that's essentially, what inspired me to build ENS Redirect.
That definitely makes a lot of sense. I know when I actually got the .eth for ENS Central, I was kind of wondering, like, what can I do with it? I have this .com website, but how can I do something with the .eth as well? And one of the writers for us actually put together an article about how to create like just a basic website. It's essentially just a file that the enscentral.eth.limo redirects to. But now that I'm seeing and learning more about ENS redirect, I think I might actually switch it over to that. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to be able to get that connection, like I was saying. between the 2 worlds and hopefully put some more eyes on it as the community itself grows. But just jumping into one more thing about your project, is there anything or any plans you guys have for maybe adding on to it, or will it always just kinda be a redirect? You know, is there any partnerships or different avenues you guys might take in the future to, grow this idea?
Yeah, I would say we are definitely early, considering we launched 2 weeks ago, but we have plans. We don't think that ENS Redirect will just be a redirect site. We definitely want to explore more, opportunities of discovery on what you can do with your ENS domain. So yeah, we are exploring that currently, and we are definitely going to release more stuff soon.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely gonna be on the lookout for that and, make sure you let us know. I'd love to try to get the word out whenever you guys get some more features added on. But just to kinda close out the show, I appreciate all the time you've taken today, but we do have to ask, just like every other guest, if you could have any .eth, what would it be?
Interesting. I think I'm going to be a bit mean and say I'd want to have my domain Helen.eth. I mean, I joined late and it was already taken. I feel like I really want it so bad to own that. And I'm currently just on the lookout to see when it's going to expire.
Yeah, the names, I said it last week, I was talking with Amar and he brought up a name as well. It seems like the names are just everybody's choice and it makes sense. He actually talked about a little bit about why, just the,
Yeah, I
value of
mean,
like
it's how you identify yourself with in Web3. So you kind of want that. I mean, it's your identity.
exactly, yeah. We had, I wanna say only one other person, you're actually our 5th guest. I think we had one person, not go with their name, and it was actually Gwayman.eth. He went with Dahomey, which is it's a good one too, but, a little different from the names that we've gotten for everybody.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but Helen, just wanna say thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time. It was awesome to hear about, your experiences in Web3 and ENS and what you're doing with ENS Redirect, and I wish you best of luck with that project.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. This was fun.